Well, good Friday morning. We have made it to the weekend. Lots of events planned for Veterans Day weekend, but first we got the boat show in downtown Fort Myers. Thanks for joining us now at 9. I'm Taylor Petras.
I'm Belinda Post. Of course, nothing more patriotic than boating and all the Veterans Day events that we have planned throughout the weekend. Meteorologist Nash Rhodes, he can tell us how the weather's shaking up for that.
Yeah, and how lucky are we to be dealing with this beautiful forecast?
Korea, Vietnam, the Gulf War, and Afghanistan. American military men and women served, sacrificed, and fought to keep our country free.
And of course, we are ultimately grateful for you. And this morning, a sea of red, white, and blue returns to Lashley Park for Veterans Day weekend. It's the Healing Field of Honor. Wink News reporter Tiffany Rizzo explains the meaning behind it.
Wink News.
A husband, a father, and a patriot. The man in these photos is William Edward Daniel. He dedicated his life to this country. Daniel was honored after his death at a special pinning ceremony at Tidewell Hospice. He served during World War II, and 13 months of his service he spent it as a prisoner of war.
Nobody there knew it, but the war had been won the day before, but they didn't tell the prisoners. He hears the airplane, he sees American planes, and they're parachuting people down to help them bring them food. So he is so happy. He said, "I'll never forget that day."
When he returned back to the U.S., he was nursed back to health, but still felt the call of duty. Daniel was one of the first guards at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. He earned many awards and decorations and was a man who held his country to the highest standard. That's something we can all admire.
We'll take a look at these images, a fireball in the middle of the road, and you see the bright orange flames towering over firefighters. A Wink News viewer sent this in, showing the aftermath of a tragic crash in Estero. 4 friends and an SUV and a motorcyclist died in that crash. And this is video from the scene on 41 and Williams Road after the fire was put out. You can just see how bad the road was burned as troopers cleared the intersection. This morning, a community is trying to recover after losing their neighbors and friends. 4 women who died in the crash lived or used to live in the Copperleaf community for more than 20 years. The general manager of the golf club told us the women were best friends and on their way home from bingo.
Copperleaf is a special place. Having worked here for the past 20 years, it really is that community, and we're proud of that. We support each other. What have the hugs been like? They've been emotional and raw. And I was fortunate enough to have sat with them all on Monday at a table, just sharing stories, and I'll never forget it. You know, it's one of my fond memories that I'll always keep.
David Dorff-Smith says they have meals planned for the families. They also plan to hold a neighborhood remembrance soon. Meantime, a memorial now sits at the crash site. Family and friends place photos and flowers for a young man named Malachi Parker. He was on the motorcycle that collided with the SUV. Friends say he was on his way home from church when the crash happened.
Florida has a driving issue with hit and runs at an abnormally high rate. The state of Florida has averaged more than 100,000 hit and runs during the past 5 years. 250 of those have been deadly each year. Over and over, people are involved in hit and run crashes. Dakota Goff Lindsay was involved in a hit and run over the weekend, and his car was totaled.
The next thing I know is I just got hit. I felt like I was spun around. I wasn't too sure until I got told that's what happened. I had a certain amount of money I was putting towards a house, and a large chunk of that was ripped away from me. So I felt like not only did I lose a vehicle, I also lost potential home.
If you thought things couldn't get worse, insurance expert John Garner says there's more.
I'm not saying we'll have more accidents. I'm saying more of the accidents that occur will involve uninsured people, because as the price of insurance goes up, there's more and more people that simply can't afford it.
Garner says we're all paying for it. He explains we all share in the cost of claims when we pay our premiums. The best way to protect yourself is by not cutting back on insurance coverage and buying something like a dash cam.
Someone smoking inside this apartment is believed to have started this massive fire that sent a woman and police officer to the hospital. We brought this to you as breaking news Thursday morning. Happened near downtown Fort Myers on Marsh and Michigan Avenues. This morning, Fort Myers police told us the officer suffered burns to her eyes. She's now on leave while she recovers at home. She is expected to be okay. They couldn't give us an update on the woman who was rushed to a Tampa burn unit, though. What we do know is the quick thinking of a neighbor is what may have saved her life. Julio Silvia Gonzalez is a neighbor of the woman caught in the fire. Gonzalez says he heard her scream for help, so he ran in. He says the door was so hot he had to use a pillow to get it open and get her outside, all before firefighters got there. Another neighbor says she needed that help.
She's an elderly woman. I can just imagine what she's going through, you know. It could be my grandmother, could have been someone. You know, may God bless her.
Fort Myers Fire says if it wasn't for that firewall, the fire could have spread to nearby homes.
We are following breaking news out of Cape Coral. There's a large water main break at Cape Coral Parkway and Southwest 23rd Ave. It's blocking eastbound traffic on Cape Coral Parkway. This photo shows some of the flooding. Cape Coral police do ask you use an alternate route. You can use Beach Parkway and then Chiquita.
Well, whether you have a job or are looking for one, we all know how frustrating the job market can be. While this is nothing new, a new player is changing the landscape. That is artificial intelligence. If you've applied to jobs and you're not hearing back, it can be because employers are using screening programs that could eliminate you from the candidate pool before a real person ever has a chance to look at your resume.
A recent study does show that 4 out of 10 companies will use AI in a hiring process by next year. Wink News investigative reporter Celine MacArthur explores the technology and finds out if there's a way to beat the bots so you can get the job you want.
Reporter Celine MacArthur, Wink News.
2 deputies allegedly targeted by a man driving a car directly into them.
Today, the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office was intentionally attacked and ambushed by a man determined to kill deputy sheriffs.
Next, we show you the disturbing video of the attack.